If you're looking for Raiders news all off season long, make sure you hit that big old red button underneath this video that says subscribe, and make sure you turn on those notifications. I also say that because the off season is prime time for Raiders rumors, and it's important to know which rumors make sense and which rumors are just trying to get you to click on it. I don't do clickbait here. I do talk about rumors, but it's because they got some legit legs to those rumors. Coming up here, let's talk about some of these news and rumors on today's show. The Raiders rumors on today's show is A.J. Cole, the greatest Raiders punter of all time. I'm going to give you my 2 cents on this one. Then, could football actually be returning to the city of Oakland? We'll break that story down. And then at the very, very end, Decamerion Richardson, does he have a shot to start this upcoming season? One of the Raiders beat reporters put out there that he might be the starter this year. Let's first talk about A.J. Cole, because over the weekend, he became the highest paid punter in the NFL, signing a 4-year, $15.8 million deal with $11 million guaranteed. I love this deal because the deal tied Cole to the Raiders until 2029, which means that Cole is tied now with somebody like John Spytek and even potentially tied with Pete Carroll, who's got 3 to 4 year option. But he's going to be a free agent in the year 2030 at age 34. So the question that I'm going to ask all of you today is A.J. Cole the greatest Raiders punter of all time? And sometimes you might roll your eyes to that statement because, again, we're talking about a punter. But if you go out and you talk to a lot of NFL people out there in terms of which team might have the best special teams unit of all time with Seabass, Ray Guy, Shane Lechler, a lot of people are going to talk about the silver and black. To me, though, I'm going to give this one 2 just win babies, and I'm going to say people are talking. It's too early to say that A.J. Cole is the greatest Raiders punter of all time. But let me be very clear. He is trending in that direction. And I do really think that this could end up being a conversation that we have when it's all said and done. Yes, Cole is the highest paid punter in the NFL, and I saw my guy on Twitter. His name's Tristan Kuhn. Some of you might have known him from his old IG days as Raider Scout, but he said in quotes, will very likely end up being the best punter in Raiders history. And obviously, when you hear something like that, I think instantly people go, Shane Lechler, at least I did, Ray Guy, instantly thought about it. And I sat back and I go, well, I got to look at the numbers first, because I'll be real, I don't really analyze punter numbers super in depth, but when you see the numbers that A.J. Cole is putting up, you're also going to go, yeah, there's a chance that he might be the greatest Raiders punter of all time. So the pinned comment on today's show is this, and I think that this is going to be one of those shows where you're going to flex your Raiders muscles. You're going to flex to see how much of a real one you are, because not only are you watching Raiders videos on May 27th, we're talking about flipping punters. That is the definition of a real one. So let me know down below who is the best Raiders punter of all time. One of the things that I really wanted to look at, though, is the number aspect side of it, because to me, I think of Ray Guy and I think of A.J. Cole as the first 2 names here. When you look at just the overall punts, yards, I look at average. So right now you can already see Cole's got a massive upgrade in terms of Ray Guy overall punt average. Then you can see the touchback percentage. The lower the number there, the better the number there. And then you can see the percentage of how often Cole's kicking it inside the 20. I'm telling you this, 44.9%. I don't think people realize how elite that truly is, and it's why he is an all-pro. But to me, the greatest Raiders punter is Shane Lechler with over 1,444 punts, almost 69,000 yards and punting yards. And I'll be real, I think A.J. Cole at this point, you could say is a better punter than somebody like Ray Guy. But I do not think that you could say A.J. Cole is a better punter than the numbers that Shane Lechler put up, just because of how long of a career that he had. The touchback percentage, the inside the 20 percentage. I get that football is played a lot differently in today's day and age, but I mean this. If A.J. Cole does exactly what Cole has done, even if he falls off just a little bit over the next 5 years, you're going to sit back and you're going to go, man, I actually think that A.J. Cole is the greatest Raiders punter of all time. And when we have an opportunity to say that, especially because this is an organization that has all of that great history, I think it just goes to show how great of a player Cole is, which, again, sometimes you don't want your punter on the field, but being able to see A.J. Cole out there, he was super excited over the weekend. I don't know if you guys saw the video that his wife, I believe it's his wife, fiance, ended up posting of him dancing. AJ Cole was happy that he just got paid. And you know what, man? He deserved it. Let's go to the next story here on the Raiders Report. Is football returning to Oakland? Oh, man, I can remember the final game in Oakland, and I saw more Raiders fans cry that day than probably I've ever seen a bunch of old men cry ever. But hey, maybe football is going to be returning to Oakland. I'm going to give this one 2 just win babies, and I'm also going to say that there is a 50-50 shot that there will be football back in Oakland. NFL football? No. UFL football? Potentially. Now, if you didn't see this report over the weekend, according to Mark Perry of the UFL News Hubcom, whatever the heck you want to call that. Yeah, I know I said that wrong. His sources state that NFL legend Tom Brady is interested in purchasing a UFL team. This comes after reports of the UFL filing for trademarks, which includes the Oakland Invaders, Tampa Bay Bandits, Philadelphia Stars, and the New Jersey Generals. Now, here's the one thing. I know that Tom Brady won a Super Bowl with the Bucs in 2020, and right now a lot of the reports, or a lot of the rumors, let's call it, are kind of indicating that if a team were to happen, it would be down in Tampa Bay. It wouldn't be in the city of Oakland. But here's the other thing that we got to talk about. If the Raiders are going to take a team, and if they're going to take them back to Oakland, I know that the Oakland Invaders was something at one point. And the Oakland Invaders, for those of you that do not know, when the Oakland Raiders ended up going to Los Angeles, the UFL, I believe it was the UFL, ended up making a team, and they were called the Oakland Invaders. Here's where their helmets, here are the colors, here's what we're working with, right? And this was a team, I believe it was from 1983 to 1985, so it wasn't a long time. And it was essentially made in spite of, they're like, all right, you're going to leave Oakland, you're going to go to LA, we're going to invent the Oakland Invaders. My problem with this idea is I actually think it's a cool idea to have football go back to Oakland. I really do. I think that a lot of people would actually support that team because how many fans, miss having football in Oakland. But, let's be very, very clear here. If you're actually, and I'm looking at you, Tom Brady, if you actually are going to go, all right, I'm going to make a team and I'm going to put them in Oakland, bro, you got to change that logo. You got to change the helmet. You got to change the team colors. And I get it. The Oakland Invaders did happen. And I get it was from 1983, 84, and 85, and there's some history there. But there's a 0% chance that you're going to have any success because what you're hoping is I think that teams that rocked with the Oakland Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, Los Angeles Raiders also rock with the Oakland Invaders. I am not wearing anything Oakland Invaders related if it just looks like a knockoff of Charger stuff. And let's be honest, that's what the Oakland Invaders look like, a knockoff of Charger stuff. It needs to be silver and black. I think there needs to be a shield, and if you just put Invaders on it, it would sell because I'll tell you this, I would buy one. So I think if I would buy one, other people would buy one. Speaking of buying one, if you're trying to get some Raiders gear, we actually have a bunch of Raiders gear that is on sale right now. I also know that Father's Day, it's right around the corner, right? And I never know what to get my dad, and I'm sure a bunch of y'all out there, when people ask you, what should I get you? You're like, oh, I don't really care. And maybe guys don't really care about that type of stuff, but I do know this. You always want to make sure that you get the people that are most important in your life something special. I also know that I don't really shop for myself too often. But when I do, I usually buy myself Raiders gear, right? So if you need a Raiders hat, a sweatshirt, a T-shirt, shoes, I even saw purses in there if you want to get your wife or significant other something. If you need anything Raiders related, right now is like the perfect time to get it because they're always restocking, getting ready for the new season. So there's a lot of good sales on some of the stuff that didn't sell last year, but it's still great Raiders stuff. So chatsports.com/Raiders sale. That link's down in the comments and in the description of today's show. Let's go to the final story here on today's episode of the Raiders Report, and it's Decamerion Richardson going to be starting this upcoming season. When I first started doing the Raiders Report, I would go around in the offseason and I would look for articles from whoever was willing to write an article, and I'd give my 2 cents on that report, give the 2 cents on the article in general, and that's how the Just Win Babies or the Chucky Heads were invented. In terms of Decamerion Richardson starting this upcoming season, I'm going to give this one 0 Just Win Babies, and I'm going to say tuck rule, tuck that. I'm not saying that there's a 0% chance that Richardson could start at some point this season because injuries obviously happen. I am simply saying there is a 0% chance that Richardson starts week 1 of the NFL season. And I'm breaking this down because I saw Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated say Richardson will battle for a starting role. I mean this in the most respectful way possible. We got to stop considering Hondo a insider. He is a great dude, and I know how difficult it is to make it in this industry, but there's a difference between being somebody who talks about it, gives their opinion, me, and then being an insider. And unfortunately, I don't really think the Raiders actually have an insider right now, just a bunch of people that like to talk about the football team. That's okay. But we also can't say just because something comes from Hondo or Sports Illustrated that, bang, it's a report. And oftentimes, and I'm just being very transparent, when Hondo says something, I get people coming to me and they go, well, what do you think about it? With all due respect, just because Hondo says it, I actually don't really think that there's a lot of legs to it. I think he's just giving his opinion, and giving in your opinion is okay. But to me, I don't know how you could look at what the Raiders did this offseason and go, Decamerion Richardson's going to be battling for a starting spot. Every player under the sun is going to be battling for a starting spot, and that's just the way Pete Carroll works. But anybody can say you're going to start. I think it's going ahead and giving that extra analysis saying, you know what, he's not actually going to be starting for that, or battling for that starting spot. In all honesty, I think Decamerion Richardson's battling for a cornerback 3, cornerback 4 spot. And the reasons why I don't think Richardson is going to start this upcoming season is, first off, they drafted Darian Porter. Now, I get it. If you looked at Richardson, height, length, he has everything that Pete Carroll looks for in a cornerback. That's a cold, hard fact. But I also look at Darian Porter and I look at Decamerion Richardson and I go, I think everything that Decamerion Richardson brings to the table, Darian Porter just brings it to the table a little bit better. And then on top of that, he's only been playing corner for a short amount of time, and he was drafted by this regime. So already off the jump, in my mind, I go, Decamerion Richardson will not start over Darian Porter. Then the Raiders this offseason, they go out, they sign Eric Stokes, and I get it. Eric Stokes is a former first-round pick, long, lanky, athletic guy, has yet to prove anything, but this regime went out and they signed him this offseason. You go look at a lot of the moves that the Raiders made this offseason, and those are going to be the players that I think play a heavy role early on. On top of that, the last time that we heard Pete Carroll speak about the DBs, the one name that he brought up right away was Eric Stokes. So to me, I think Eric Stokes is over Decamerion Richardson. Then let's go to the name that this regime did not bring in, Jacorian Bennett. And I know that Jacorian Bennett rubbed some people the wrong way when he was a rookie. He was not good as a rookie. But the step that he took forward as a sophomore, he was the best Raiders cornerback last season. And I don't think that you can dispute that. He was better than Jack Jones. He was better than Nate Hobbs. I don't give a shit when anybody says Jacorian Bennett was better than Nate Hobbs. So in my mind, I'm going, well, how can you put Richardson over Jacorian Bennett? So if he's not over Porter, if he's not over Eric Stokes, and if he's not over Jacorian Bennett, well, that means he has to start at the nickel. Here's the problem, though. He's not a nickel corner. And, I would say out of Darian Porter, Eric Stokes, Jacorian Bennett, and then you throw Decamerion Richardson in that, I would say Richardson, in terms of the skill set that they bring to the table, is probably the least likely to play in the nickel. I think Jacorian would be a better nickel. I think Stokes would be a better nickel. I think Darian Porter could be a better nickel than somebody like Decamerion Richardson. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to have value to this football team, because I'll tell you this, I do really honestly think that Richardson is going to have a big impact on this football team. I just think it's going to be on special teams for year one with this regime, because defense, he's going to get opportunities. And the Raiders are going to put guys out there, and they're going to have to compete, and they're going to have to show up, because there's a lot of other guys waiting in the wings to take advantage of that job. So even though I do not think that he's going to start on defense, he's got to continue to work, and if he goes out there and he proves that he's the best guy, yes, he will get that opportunity. I just don't think that that opportunity is going to happen, and that's my 2 cents, but he will be a starter on special teams. When you have that long athletic ability, I think Richardson is going to get molded into being one of the better gunners in the NFL because of the new kick return, the new punt return, all these new rules that we're seeing on special teams. So overall, before I get out of here, is A.J. Cole the best Raiders punter ever? We're talking about it, and right now it's trending in that direction. I'm still going to give the advantage to Shane Lechler. Football return to the Oakland. If the Oakland Invaders even have a shot And if Tom Brady's the one running it, the guy that did the entire tuck roll, you better make it silver and black. Get rid of the Chargers knockoff brand logo that we're working with. Get a shield, put invaders in it. It's the only way it's going to sell. And then is Decamerion Richardson going to be starting this season? Special teams? Yes. On defense, unfortunately, I'm going to go with no.